You know what's toxic. You can see the red flags, understand the patterns. So why do you keep ending up in the same dysfunctional dynamics? Your brain is designed to seek the familiar. And if dysfunction was normal growing up, your nervous system will unconsciously recreate those same patterns in your adult relationships. The psychology behind toxic relationship patterns perfectly explains why conscious awareness isn't enough to break free from it. So let's dive right in. Your relationship blueprint was written before you could even speak. Your parents or caregivers were the first examples of masculine and feminine dynamics, how people who love each other behave towards each other, and what love feels like in action. The layer beneath your learned beliefs about relationships is where you begin normalizing feeling states. If chaos reigned at home, calm and stable feels alien. If you had to earn love through performance, unconditional acceptance feels suspicious. For example, if a parent withdrew affection when you made mistakes or showed certain emotions, your nervous system learned that love is conditional and can disappear at any moment. So as an adult, you might unconsciously expect people to pull away when you show your real self. Or worse, you might hide under layers of masks and try to predict what version of you others respond best to. Your brain created certain templates, not just thoughts, but entire emotional and psychological schemas that define what relationships should feel like. Notice how this explains patterns you've experienced but couldn't quite understand before. Now, your brain has one primary job: prove your existing beliefs true. It's not trying to make you happy or successful, it's trying to keep you consistent with your internal programming. If you believe deep down that you're not worthy of respect, your brain will unconsciously guide you towards people who confirm that. If you learned love requires sacrifice, you'll be drawn to takers with endless needs, requests, and demands. See, you're not consciously choosing dysfunction, your subconscious seeks what it knows because your nervous system mistakes familiarity for safety, even when what you know is painful and destructive. Which means your comfort zone isn't exactly comfortable. Rather, it's just what's familiar. If you grew up feeling neglected, invisible, or disrespected, those states etched themselves into your identity and became your baseline normal. So when someone treats you consistently well, your nervous system trips the alarm. This feels wrong and dangerous because it threatens your internal template of what relationships are supposed to feel like. This is often why people leave healthy relationships, saying something was missing. It just didn't quite feel right. Well, what was missing was a familiar dysfunctional dynamic that their nervous system had grown to expect. If any of this is clicking for you, give us a like as it helps us reach more people who need this type of information. Now, your relationship patterns operate on 4 levels. Most of us only try to change one. The identity level, these are how you unconsciously see yourself in relationships. I'm someone who falls for unavailable people, fixes broken people, ends up settling. The belief level, core beliefs about yourself, others, and what relationships require. I'm not enough. Real love requires sacrifice. People always leave eventually. These are the invisible rules you're playing by, even if you don't consciously agree with them. The emotional level, you've normalized and expect, like walking on eggshells feels normal to you, or butterflies, otherwise known as anxiety, is what real love and chemistry feels like. These are the emotions your body expects: tense, hypervigilant, braced for the unknown. The behavioral level, that's automatic actions that flow from your deeper programming. Things like overgiving, over-explaining, trying to make things work against all odds, staying with someone that's inconsistent or neglectful for way too long. These are the things you do on autopilot that feel, well, that's just how things go. Here's why willpower fails. You're treating a fever with ice packs, dressing the symptom, not the source. Most of us try changing behaviors, better boundaries, choosing differently, but the deeper 3 levels keep pulling them back down. Since these patterns run automatically, you're not weak or stupid for repeating them. You're a human being running programming that was installed before you could choose differently. The person who keeps attracting narcissists isn't broken or crazy. They're just following subconscious programming that learned intensity means love and chaos equals passion. The person who stays in relationships where they're undervalued or neglected isn't lacking self-respect. They're operating from beliefs about their worth formed years ago. You can't think your way out of patterns that formed below your conscious thought. Willpower only works temporarily and requires consistent focus and attention. And this is why subconscious programming always wins in the long run until you rewire it where it lives. Here's what that programming looks like in real life. You see the red flags, you watch the videos, analyze attachment styles. Then a few months later, you're dating the same person, just a different body. That draining friend you finally cut off, suddenly you're there for them again. Any of this sound familiar? Your conscious mind understands the pattern perfectly, but your subconscious is still running the old program, trying to create what it's used to from decades ago. Now that you understand these mechanisms, you can begin to change them, but it requires working at the same deep levels where these patterns were formed. You need to identify your specific templates and triggers, rewire your nervous system's definition of normal, install new beliefs at the identity level, and consistently practice new behaviors until they become natural, effortless, and automatic. Which level needs the most work for you? The identity, beliefs, emotions, or behaviors level? Share your thoughts below. Understanding why you're stuck is the first step to getting unstuck. Your patterns made sense given your programming, but now you can consciously begin to reprogram. In our next video, we'll explore why people stay in toxic relationships even when they know better. The survival programming, the biochemical addiction, the identity attachments that make leaving feel impossible. And later in the series, we'll dive into the hypnotic approach that rewires these programs subconsciously. You're not broken. You're just running old software, and any software can be updated. Until next time.